I want to make a film where you hear different stories from different people. All these stories are different, like the people that tell them, but one thing they all have in common is that all these stories can be related to something that has happened to you, a friend, or a character in a movie that made you feel something. I made this film to see how many people I could find with completely different stories that everyone can relate to in one way or the other. I want you to watch these people let their guard down and tell their stories, and to be inspired by their bravery and tell your own story. We all have one, as simple or as complex as it may be.
So I believe that any person, as you said, loses some and then gains some. Sorry for that voice crack. In order for one to get somewhere, in order for one to get to the top, which is most of people's goals, getting to the top, the pinnacle of their career, of their life, you need to lose. And for one to get to the top, that's basically taking someone else's spot, because everything is a cycle. Everything is a cycle, and if you wanna be the manager, or if you wanna be the CEO of something, you'll take someone else's spot. You'll take someone else's income or someone else's job. Therefore, that happens. Personally, I've tried to always create, and I've tried to always look ahead and try to help others. Pinnacles of my life, although I'm still young. At the age of 15, I created a collection back in Mozambique when I still lived there, and I enabled myself to go forward with it and participate in the Mozambican Fashion Week. Many people were against that idea. Many people, even people within the organization, said that I was too young. I was 15 at the time, I believe. I was 15 or 14, and people were against it, saying I'm too young and inexperienced. But I still went through with it, and that year, 2014, the collection was one of the most applauded ones. So that was an achievement, because I was able to show young people that there's no age for anything. There's no age. You can be out. I'm still the youngest person to have ever showcasted a collection in Mozambique, in the Mozambican Fashion Week, and maybe in the world. Who knows? For an official fashion week that was showcasted around a whole country. So that's what I take from it, but it's not a personal achievement. I believe that I was able to inspire people, to do the same and to follow their dreams, no matter the age, and to not be restricted to only focusing on school. Because you focus on school, you get a normal job, and then your life just becomes very monotonous. So your life becomes regular. And I'm trying to inspire people to, everyone has something within them. But we all great heroes have, bad sides and have their downfalls. I believe that one of my downfalls was always changing countries. Not unfortunately, I actually am very fortunate. My parents are diplomats, and which basically consists in me moving from A to B to C to D. And when you're moving from A to B to C to D, you're always making new friendships, and you're always, leaving some friendships behind, and I had to learn to adapt. Learning to adapt is not always easy, because you'll find places which are easy to adapt, and then you'll find places which are completely hard to adapt, because the societies and the communities are different. So I think that's one of the hardest things, because we think that, let's say you're going to live in England, you're going to live in Italy, it's amazing, but there's a difference between living there and between visiting, and that's what many people don't understand. And it's hard for some people to adapt to be alone. You have to get used to, being alone, to adapting, to making new friends, and also to feeling excluded at times. So I think that's a very, that was one of my downfalls. Also, I believe that people should be very realistic with themselves. I take movies as an example. You know how many people watch movies and people think that everything that happens in movies cannot happen to us, right? So let's say when you have like kids dying in movies or stuff like that, very traumatic experiences, people think that that cannot happen to us, and unfortunately it does. From my own personal experience, my dad passed away at the end of 2016, of the year 2016, indeed. And people never expect, especially at a young age, people think that that cannot happen to us, that we're immune to these things happening, to loss, to death. And when that hit me, even though my relationship with my dad wasn't the greatest relationship ever, I felt it. I felt it because I thought that I always had time. But even though you can't live looking over your shoulder all the time, but you have to be careful because things can go like this. Things can go like this. And it's like that song, you only know you love her till you let her go, I believe. You only value things when they're gone. And I try to tell people that that's the wrong thing to do. Even though you're upset, you can be the most upset person ever. Don't lose your time and try to stay mad at someone, because you never know what happens. So yes, I've had falls. I've had, I've been at the pinnacle of my career, of my life. But every great person will have ups and downs, and that's continuous. That's continuous. And I think that that's how you live a great life. A great life is made of, it's built on ups and downs. So yeah. Next question.